Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the National Timely Action Hour. This is the show where we talk about everything from comic books to movies and everything in between. My name is Aiden, and today we are doing a review of The Savage She-Hulk number 2, published in March 1979. This was written by David Kraft and drawn by Mark Vosberg, and this is obviously the second appearance of the She-Hulk. And I thought that since she has a show going on Disney Plus, it would be it would be wrong not to talk about She-Hulk in some form or another. And you can tell this is from 1979 because there is a advertisement for Star Trek: The Motion Picture on the back of the cover. And I really like this cover. It has She-Hulk stopping a bus. And this story is called Death Race. So it picks up from where the first issue left off. I don't own it, but I did see a recap of what happened. So basically, Jennifer Walters is a lawyer in Los Angeles, and she is the cousin of Dr. Bruce Banner, aka the Incredible Hulk. And Bruce comes to visit his cousin because he just happens to be in Los Angeles because he's wandering around the country trying to evade the army. And so he goes to see her, and she's in the middle of a case where she's defending a guy who is accused of murder, but he was framed by a guy named Trask, not to be confused with the X-Men villain Trask, but this is a different guy with the same surname. Maybe they're related, I don't know. But Trask framed this guy for murder, and Jennifer has to acquit the guy, or at least, reduce the sentence, and or prove that he is innocent, in fact. And so Trask sends his men to kill her because she's getting close, and so they take shots at her. One actually hits her, goes through her back, I think. Yeah, she gets shot in the back. So Jennifer gets shot in the back, and Bruce takes her to her neighbor, who is a doctor, and he patches her up, and Bruce gives her a blood transfusion because they're the same blood type, because they're family, and because Bruce's blood was irradiated by gamma radiation, the powers of the Hulk transfer to her, but since it's not complete, gamma bomb for her, she turns into the She-Hulk, but she can retain her consciousness and her intelligence. And then they go after the people who attacked her. Now this is continuing from that, and basically they got the guys who attacked her, and the police arrest them, and Jenna and her friend Jill, who's the doctor who saved her daughter, her next door neighbor, Jill is driving Jen around because she just got discharged from the hospital after being shot, and Jen is recounting her origin in her head, and so then we see her in court, but she doesn't do well because, of shenanigans, but then she offers the guys who attacked her a deal where she's like, listen, if you testify against your boss, we'll set you free, or at least reduce your sentences. And they're like, okay. And so then we get the sworn testimonies of them, and they are shown leniency. Then Jill takes Jen home. Actually, no, to her to the police station because Jen's father is the sheriff, and then she goes and confronts Trask, and he's like, "Hey, don't fuck with me." Then they go home, and they're having a barbecue, and then Trask's men tamper with Jen's car, and they call the house and to get her out of there. And so Jill takes the car and is going to Jen's office to get the papers. It's not true because as we know from dramatic irony, that it's a setup. But yeah, so Jen realizes what's going on. She chases after her, but her back flares up from the pain of being shot, and she turns into She-Hulk. And the rest of the issue, she's just chasing Jill in the car, and the other lawyer who was the assistant district attorney, who she was, going against in court. He sees Jen's car and recognizes it, and he's like, "Oh crap! She-Hulk is chasing Jen. I gotta go help her," because he's not a complete asshole. So he goes. He's driving and he's trying to help her, not realizing the situation. And then we see Trask doing his dealings, and instead of paying the guy, he's going to shoot him. And Jill just happens to be driving by, and she's about to crash into the truck. Jen throws another car at the truck to knock it out of the way. And then she continues the chase, and they end up on the highway, and Jen takes a bus and uses it to block the traffic, and she's going to catch the car with Jill in it. But then Buck, the ADA, he just rams his car into She-Hulk, and then Jill goes over the rail, and unfortunately she falls face first into a oncoming truck carrying oil. It explodes, and she dies. And then the police start attacking her, and then she flees, and she turns back into her human form, goes to the courthouse, and finishes up there. And that's the end of issue 2. So, high-flying action, but a tragic end. And I thought it was well written. I really liked the artwork. And yeah, let me show you some of this. A lot of this is just advertisements, though. So it's like a couple pages of story, then advertisements. Then a couple more pages of ads, story, etc., etc. So, yeah. I really liked it, and I bought it at the Fan Expo in Toronto a few months ago for a pretty low price, actually, considering how popular She-Hulk has gotten since Disney Plus and Marvel Studios produced that show. I haven't seen the show, but I've heard a lot of mixed reviews about it. But I like She-Hulk as a character. I first saw her as a kid when I was watching the Hulk the Animated Series from the 90s, where I was introduced to a lot of characters that I now love. And yeah, she was a big part of that show, and I loved that portrayal of her for the most part. But She-Hulk is a very interesting character. Like I said, she can retain her consciousness while in Hulk form, and so Jennifer Walters, she's a very repressed woman, but when she's She-Hulk, she's very sexual and out there. We see a bit of Jen's home life, but that doesn't really add too much. I mean, it adds to the character, so we understand her more. But the main thing that people buy these books are for the high-flying action scenes and the super heroics. Unfortunately, Jen fails to save her friend, and it's tragic. I didn't read the first issue, so I didn't get to know her all that well, but I liked Jill. She was, fun. She and Jen had a strong friendship, and, they had a deep love and respect for each other. But, sadly, she's gone. And it showed, again, that the assistant district attorney, her opponent in the legal battle, wasn't a complete jerk. He cared enough about Jennifer to save her, but he didn't know that it was Jill. And, he meant well, but it ended in tragedy. And Bruce Banner does not return in issue 2, so we only see him in the flashback to her origin, but you know, that's enough for me as a Hulk fan. But it's nice to see Bruce's aunt and uncle, because if you know anything about Bruce Banner's origin story, his mother, who was Jennifer's father's sister, she was murdered by Bruce's father, and Bruce's father was very abusive to both his wife and to his son, so he was an asshole. Later on, he comes back as a ghost to haunt Bruce. It's a whole complicated mess, but we get to see the loving family that Bruce had. But that's all I have to say about the Savage She-Hulk issue 2 Death Race. I enjoyed it. It was well written. I enjoyed the art, the colors. Since this is a book from 1979, it's a bit faded, but it's in pretty good condition. It's very well preserved, and just like Bilbo, thin, sort of stretched, if you know what I mean, like butter scraped over too much bread. But thank you so much for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, please hit the like button. If you didn't, hit the dislike button. And if you're new to my channel, want to check out more comic book reviews, please subscribe and ring the bell to be notified when I post new videos. And in the comments section, please tell me your thoughts on this video, and if you've read this issue, let me know what you thought about it. And please leave any constructive criticisms you've got or any suggestions for future videos. I read all of the comments, so please do that for the algorithm. And in the description of this video, I will leave the links to my podcast, so if you want to subscribe and listen to me ramble on about various different topics like video games and Star Wars and Star Trek and Lord of the Rings and comic books, feel free to do so. And also I will leave the links to my social media profiles, so Facebook page, Discord server, Twitter page, website, and I'll also leave the links to my Patreon page and Spring Store, so if you'd like to support the channel financially, I would greatly appreciate that. So feel free to check that out. You get a slew of benefits. Thank you once again for watching this video. I hope that you have a wonderful day. I mean that from the bottom of my heart. I really appreciate my viewers and subscribers. You guys are wonderful. Bye.